It's time for Rabbi Minkowicz's Weekly Torah Lesson, a place where life's most difficult questions are answered. Here with his spiritual perspective and insight, Rabbi Minkowicz.
Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parsha's Aryeh. The question is, how can we make sure to receive God's blessings? So in this week's Torah portion, Parsha's Aryeh, we have the mitzvah of giving charity. Now, what's interesting is that it's a mitzvah in this week's Torah portion, but also we know that this Shabbat is Rosh Chodesh Elul, the beginning of the month of Elul, and Elul is a month of tshuva, of repentance, and the Rambam writes specifically about the month of Elul, because we know that we blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah, but we also have a custom to blow the shofar every single day in the month of Elul. And the Rambam writes, why do we blow shofar in the month of Elul and on Rosh Hashanah? It is, besides the fact that it's a commandment from God, but more importantly, is so that we should wake up. The sound of the shofar is supposed to wake us up to return to God. And the Rambam writes, how does one return to God? He returns to God by giving charity and by doing mitzvot. So the Rebbe asks a simple question, that we're getting ready for the high holidays, for Rosh Hashanah, and we want to have a good judgment. So if we want a good judgment, we want to do as many mitzvot as possible. So why does the Rambam write to give charity and do mitzvot? Seemingly, you should do mitzvot because you want to get a lot of mitzvot in, and then, sure, you should do charity as well. But nevertheless, you see the Rambam specifically writes to do charity first. So the Rebbe explains, why is that? He explains because what happens when you come to Rosh Hashanah and you're coming to God to judge you, so there's two ways He can judge you. He can judge you based on judgment, counts up how many good deeds you did, how many sins you've done, and then can make a judgment based on that. Or He can judge you from a place of charity and compassion. Now, if He judges you based on judgment, so whatever you put in, that's what you're going to get out. And whatever you messed up, you're going to pay for it. However, when God is judging you from a place of compassion, so He overrides and He overlooks maybe a lot of the errors that you made, and He'll curb you and He'll give you much more points than you would normally deserve. So obviously, if we want to be judged, how do we want to be judged? From a place of judgment, where everything is looked at and dissected, or we just want God to be compassionate with us, forgive us, give us another chance, and give us blessings for an upcoming year? Obviously, we want all the blessings. So Rebbe explains that's exactly why the Rambam writes that a person should give charity first. Because when you give charity, when you fulfill the commandment of this week's Torah by giving charity, what is the idea of giving charity? Charity means that you don't judge the person that needs help. As the Torah says, you open up your hand to him, you open up your heart to him, and you don't question whether the person needs it or deserves it. You just give him just because. When you behave that way, guess what happens? God will behave that way towards you, and you'll be blessed for a great year. So to answer the question, what's the best way to receive the greatest blessings? Just to be kind and generous in a compassionate way without any judgments, and God will bless you the same. This week's Torah lesson is in memory of Baruch ben Aryeh Leib and Shlomo Ben Yosef. May their souls be elevated for the Torah that we're studying in their memory. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. For more information on Chabad, please see our website.